so that we can share it to Facebook. Thanks again for showing up and being here. And let me pull up our agenda, and you guys can see we have a lovely setting. It's going to be on the local news in Spanish and English. So let me pull up and say our opening remarks. All right, we're going to start. Okay. Buenas noches. ¿Cómo estamos? Vigil in the house. So we're going to go ahead and get our ceremony started. I'll do Spanish and English. I want to thank everyone for coming down today. It is really important that we let people know what's happening and that we fight back against the Build Back Better plan. You guys know that we've been looking at this legislation for months, and we saw this drop from 80 billion to now 53 billion. And we saw the money that's going to tenant protection vouchers go up from $500,000 to $1 billion. And that is not acceptable, right? Because every single tenant protection voucher means that one more home is going to be privatized. And we cannot allow that to happen. So tonight we're calling on our Congress people and on Senator Chuck Schumer to make sure that they stop privatization and that they support the tenants of public housing by giving public housing the money that it needs to survive. So in Spanish. Esta noche nos estamos reuniendo porque queremos asegurarnos de que todo el mundo sepa que no vamos a aceptar una legislación como el Build Back Better Plan, la cual está quitando el dinero a la vivienda pública y usando los tenant protection vouchers, está privatizando la vivienda pública. Hoy vamos a tener que mandarle el mensaje a los congresistas y al senador Chuck Schumer para que ellos entiendan lo importante que es la vivienda pública y que cada uno de nosotros tiene valor en la comunidad. So the flowers that you see in front of you, these represent all of the public housing in New York City. For each development, it's one rose. So we have 330 developments, 326. And then in orange, you'll see all of the developments that have been killed and have been privatized. We have to keep fighting and holding on to this fight to make sure that our actual public housing survives and that we don't all turn orange, right? So las flores que ven acá adelante, cada flor significa un desarrollo de vivienda pública. Tenemos 326 en la ciudad. Y aquí ven que adelante están las anaranjadas. Esas demuestran las que ya perdimos a la vivienda privada. Entonces en esos sitios son los sitios como Betances, que hablamos mucho de allá. Y el resto, la blanca, somos nosotros como Vigil. Y tenemos que seguir peleando para asegurarnos de que nosotros no nos privaticen. Porque como sabemos, en este vecindario estamos ya a la orilla de lo que es el cambio y el desarrollo que nos incluye. So especially here at Mitchell Houses, we're at the border of gentrification, right? So we have to make sure that we remain public and that we create diversity in this community, because without public housing, this community will become unaffordable and unattainable. It's not a place where we're going to be welcomed. So with that, I'm going to pass it on to our next speaker. Muchas gracias. César.
Hello, everybody. I'm Caesar, the co-founder of Safe Section 9.
Sorry.
So we have people on Zoom. They're coming from other states, Memphis, Tennessee, North Carolina. So like this says here, it's Safe Section 9. So this has to do with public housing throughout the nation. So when you're talking about Section 9, basically I call it a family of people in public housing throughout the nation. It's not only public housing in New York City. We hardly ever say the word NYCHA because this has nothing to do with NYCHA. It has to do with serving public housing everywhere. We are being attacked by entities that are only there for profit making, that don't really care about communities. They only care about making a big buck. And as you know, a lot of development is happening throughout the city, here in the Bronx. You see over there, that's a new development out there. That's not for us. but the only actual affordable housing in New York City is public housing. So if we don't have public housing, it also destabilizes the whole city, because a lot of us are service-based workers. We give up our lives to preserve the community we have here. Our cultures, in here, in that probably that so-called affordable housing is a way to assimilate our cultures into another culture that is not ours. It's also preserving our culture, the Latino, Black population, and African American cultures. But we also have Jewish and Italians and other people from other countries that live in public housing. But Mimbro House is mainly, I'm from Mimbro Houses, this is Vigil. So we have mainly Black and Latino population, but if you go around the city, it's very diverse. So we are protecting our communities and our cultures here.
We're going to start listening to tenants, and they're going to give their testimony on public housing. First up is Sister Shirley. She's coming from Staten Island, and she's going to share with us what changes she has seen living in public housing over the last 10 years. Sister Shirley.
I'm Sister Shirley from Forgotten Borough, Staten Island, and unfortunately, not only is the system with the NYCHA messed up, but this whole system is messed up, right? Like, we don't have respect for each other the way we need to, not with the elders and the children and everybody else. Now, I've been living in Mariners Harbor housing development for many moons, and things have gotten from bad to worse. And the only reason why it's happening because NYCHA is allowing it to happen. Back in the days, we had tenants patrol, okay? And we all worked together. We knew each other. If somebody was coming into the building, they would come in and they would sign in, and then we would know where they were going, okay? If my neighbor was living close to me for some time, right? We became like family. If something happened with their child, I could tell them about their child, and they wouldn't have any problem with me saying something to them about their child, because that child was my family also. So with NYCHA, they're purposely letting other tenants come in and destroy the family gathering that we have established. Like, for instance, if you have a problem with a tenant who's upstairs who's running water down on a constant basis, they still let it happen to the point where it will make the cabinets off your walls come down, okay? And then they'll take a long time to come and get that cabinet. Not only do they not get the cabinet, but when it comes to replacing it, they won't replace it. So it could be over a year before they replace that cabinet. When it comes to having people be able to get things done as far as what do you call it? A refrigerator replaced because it's not working, or a stove replaced because it's not working. They don't do anything about it, okay? When it comes to the elevators, they take a long time. So say you live on the 11th floor, which I did many moons ago. So you had to go up the stairs, go down the stairs. And sometimes there's some seniors who are on the top floors, and they don't care about that. It's all about having the control over what they want us, what they want to have control over, not caring about us. And the problem is, it's not the problem with people, we're tearing down the place. They're allowing it to happen. They are dictating to us what we need and what we want. But if they didn't allow it to happen, it wouldn't happen at all. Back in the days, I'm going to be nice, but I really don't feel like it. Back in the days, de Blasio, he knew that we didn't want to privatize. And he came in. And he came in using his lockhead daughter and his Afrohead son to get the Black and Latino vote. and they fell for it. But see, I didn't fall for it because I knew better. I knew when he was the public advocate, he sucked. Okay? I don't really feel like being nice anymore. I call him the Blasey ass. There you go. Yeah. Okay? And he came in with this sister. I can't remember how to pronounce her name, Soul or something or other, right? And she lied. And she said that, you know, they were taking care of the problems. Asbestos, lead. But they weren't. And he allowed her to resign instead of firing her. And he continued to, before even this happened, he went into other different developments, right? And what they did, they tore down some parking lots, some children's playgrounds, and some community centers, and put up high-rise buildings. 80% luxury and 20% affordable housing. And affordable to them is making $46,000 a year on up. So we need to come together, and we need to let people know that we're here and we're not leaving. And this is our home. Peace.
Shirley was ready to keep going.
Yes.
Now we're gonna ask for folks that are joining us via Zoom, because we're also being joined by people from Memphis, Tennessee, and Greensboro, North Carolina, and Raleigh to actually join us if they want to speak up. So Cesar's gonna check the chat with his assistant Nasmus, and we're gonna see who wants to join us. Like the thing. That's my technical assistance.
Hello, everybody. You can hear me?
Yes, hello.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
So I know nobody indicated that they wanted to speak in the chat yet, but if you would like to speak, give any public comments, feel free.
Is Brandy ready?
Yes.
Okay, let me
how
grab
you
the
doing?
mic and put it over here so that we can hear you. So we're gonna be joined first by Brandy from Memphis. And just to give you guys a little bit of background, this is a development where 1,500 seniors were told that they had 30 days to move out because they were taken over by a new management company. So when we talk about the dangers of privatization, they're happening all across the US, not just here in New York. So la primera persona que va a hablar por la computadora se llama Brandy.
Hello.
Y ella está representando un grupo de inquilinos que son ya de mayor edad. El edificio de ellos tiene 1,500 familias y ellos le dijeron que para enero 6 ya tienen que mudarse. So le están dando vouchers y tienen que salir a buscar apartamentos nuevos. So ella va a hablar un poco sobre eso. See? Yeah. And Brandy, occasionally I will try to translate what you're going to say. So you just have to unmute and we should be good to go.
Okay. Well, hello, everybody. Here in Memphis, Tennessee. In reality, this didn't just appear out of nowhere. This appeared back in 2018 with the Memphis 3.0 plan. And a lot of people in the city weren't informed on it. It's just a lot of something they just say they reveal, make it flashy, and just say they're going to improve the city, improve light, quote unquote.
Okay, give me 1 second and I'll translate that. So lo primero que Frank está diciendo es que este programa que le está quitando las viviendas comenzó en el año 2018 y se llama Memphis 3.0. Acá se llamaba NYCHA 2.0. ¿Ven las cosas como son todas iguales lo que están haciendo? So I just told them here, Brandy, we had NYCHA 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
So you guys had a 3 point something and we had a 2 point something.
Yes, because this is supposed to be our third bicentennial year. And so I guess they made a 3.0 plan. But, you know, they use blight as code word for gentrification, privatization of housing. This neighborhood, they fixed it up some years ago, but they basically let it just fall down, and, you know, grade it over the years and refused to fix any problems or anything like that the citizens that live here complained about. We've known about the lead in the water, like Black Lives Matter Memphis has known about the lead in the water since 2012, and we've hired a whole team of civic engineers or you know, somebody to test the water, and they found traces of lead, cadmium, radiation, all type of things, but most of the lead. You know, the city council got together and paid each one $500,000, and they pretty much left. And they left the city in the wind. So with that information in hand, me and Mama Peaches are back at BLM. We went, once we heard about College Park, we knew that this wasn't a beginning. This was like this is the midpoint really. But they have been doing this subtly for some years now with foot homes and different projects around the city, breaking up neighborhoods, breaking up family, friends that have lived here for generations, and just tearing the neighborhoods apart.
Brandy, let me translate that. So, la segunda parte que ella compartió es que allá ellos mismos comenzaron a pedir que le hicieran exámenes al agua, porque como la tubería de nosotros ve que está rota, es por la vejez y también porque son tuberías que ya tienen que reemplazarla. So, encontraron que en el agua de Memphis habían niveles de radiación y de lead demasiado altos para que la gente la consumiera. Entonces, bajo esa excusa, comenzaron a decir que iban a mejorar el vecindario. Pero cuando lo comenzaron a mejorar, se dieron cuenta los inquilinos de la vivienda pública que no era para ellos. Estaban haciendo muchos arreglos, pero era para la otra gente, para la gente que iba llegando nueva, que tenía más dinero. Okay? Go ahead, Brandy.
Okay, and in reality, I'm sorry, car passed by. In reality, this 3.0 plan was a ploy to, one, sell the city away from under the citizens. The people who bought this property don't even live here. They're from Texas. A lot of people from Texas are buying up properties in Memphis and just kicking out old residents, or even making their, once they finish them up, or do a partially well job at cleaning them up, they pretty much turn them into prisons where people barely can get in and get out and communicate with their neighbors. The plan is really to once they get rid of when nobody owns anything in the city, they're going to basically sell away our charter and Memphis become a metropolitan city, and there won't be no more city of Memphis. And we ask ourselves why not pay the people directly for the damage that's been done. Like, we are very well aware of the high crime rate in the city of Memphis. We're the murder capital of America right now, and we also, but people around here are very aware that lead poisoning contributes to high crime rate, and it's this in the city of Memphis. If you're not busy working for low wages, it basically to make housing as hard as possible to make people more vulnerable to work for lower wages. And we know if you can't, if you're not constantly working yourself to death, like people do it here with FedEx, literally die on Christmas and Thanksgiving, you're either doing something to try to earn some extra income for your family and putting you in jail. So Memphis, in reality, is a prison or police state, and we barely can do anything or talk about anything around here. And it just, like I said, it majorly affects Black and brown communities, because if you don't have a private prison system, well, you have an ICE detention center here in Tennessee. We have a lot of those here, and it just almost smacks of being purposeful of treating the people here in Memphis like that. But yeah, they here in College Park, they gathered all these people in the auditorium. You know, they had a early morning meeting with small session with the senior citizens, but then they got everybody else in one big auditorium, just telling them what they're going to do, telling them what they're going to accept, and there's no real guarantee that they're going to give them any housing. So there's no real guarantee that these vouchers going to even get them proper housing at all. And they
Randy,
even
let
asked
me
them to,
translate this part. Yeah.
Okay, sorry.
Randy estaba compartiendo con nosotras muchas cosas sobre lo que ha pasado con el agua, el desarrollo de las viviendas allá, y como están haciendo lo mismo aquí, que ella dice que están sacando toda la vivienda que puede ser accesible para las familias regulares y que los trabajos que vienen no son trabajos que pagan bien o que son dignos, son todos del FedEx o el Amazon, y que son trabajos más como para uno estar empacando cajas, que nunca va a llegar a otra cosa. Ella ahora va a comenzar a hablar de el problema que tienen ahora los seniors. So, ella dice que lo pusieron a todos en un auditorio, y en ese auditorio le dijeron, ustedes tienen que mudarse, pero que no le están dando ninguna seguridad de que van a buscarle otro apartamento o que los vouchers se van a usar en otro sitio. So they put everybody in an auditorium, Brandy, and then they told them they can't really guarantee any housing, and they don't know what's really going to happen for folks in the future. And what else did they tell people when they put them in that in the space?
Basically, they said that they're going to just start. They already started interviewing people individually, so they each person gonna probably get something else separately. So there's no guarantee or anything like that. They didn't tell them anything about the lead or anything like that. When I tried to speak on it, they had us ask questions. Well, I'm sorry, I'm starting over. One thing, they just had sit and speak. They had us sit and listen for an hour or so while they speak, without letting anybody ask any questions till the end. And once I brought up anything about the lead in the water, that's when they kicked me out. Because like I said, this has been on city council record, on the record of city council meetings since 2012, 2016. And recently when we brought it up to city council, they basically kicked us out of the city council meeting because there's no real guarantee in giving these people actual housing. Some people that got some things for the seniors, but all the people that have been living here for generations or a family been here, they don't really have any guarantee for them at all.
Okay, so ella explicó que cuando estaban en la reunión y preguntaron para dónde se van todos los vecinos, a cada persona le estaban dando como información diferente. Entonces, cuando se mudan, como ustedes que son amigas, porque ya viven acá juntas, la están separando a todas. Cuando comenzaron a preguntar también sobre la tubería y el programa que estaba supuesto a arreglar la tubería y quitar el plomo del agua, entonces comenzaron a votar la gente de las reuniones. Saben acá que Nigel también hace cosas iguales, porque a mí me han tratado de sacar ya como 3 veces, ¿verdad? Siempre le estoy diciendo que me tienen casi corte. So, allá están haciendo la misma cosa para silenciar a los inquilinos que quieren pelear y que quieren parar la privatización. So, es otro ejemplo de cómo todo es igual. All right, Brandy, so we're going to have you wrap it up, and then I think Mama Peaches wanted to share something too.
I don't believe she's here. I think she's not able to make it. I think I have Bill to take over her part about the impact of what's going on. But it's really funny that you brought up Amazon and stuff like that. You know, Memphis, city of the blues, we're a city of artists and dreamers. One thing we know we have in this city is factory jobs or distribution jobs. Because like I said, we're the distribution capital of America. There have been people who have fought and literally been murdered to try to stop Amazon from coming in our city and just pressing this form of labor onto us. Like, they keep us weak on purpose, and they keep us miseducated in our city on purpose on what's going on and how to fight against it in our school system. And it's really a direct line to the prison school pipeline, where they just keep us ignorant of what's going on, and people are unaware how to fight back, and they go about the wrong way, and then they put us in prison. We even have a few activists right now are in prison falsely, just trying to get the citizens here to vote. During Rise Up America, Rise Up Memphis, some of our activists here, BLM, have registered over 6,000 voters, and and try to get felons reinstate their right to vote. Our district attorney targeted us, and one activist is facing 4 to 8 years for registering. Basically, they originally was going to give her 40 acres, and she took it to court anyway. They was going to give her 48 years for voting on 12 counts of voting while a felon. In reality, she didn't even register to vote. It was the county or election community that brought these things up. And it's just, I'm sorry, like I said, it's been a struggle in the city, and they are purposely keeping us vulnerable when it comes to housing and having us have a proper housing. It's too many people robbing and basically funneling the money that's supposed to be going to the people into their own private pockets, such as our county commissioners or our city councilman. One example, Reginald Milton, he been funneling TIF grant money through his nonprofit South Memphis Alliance, which is just a dry cleaner, for 20 some odd years. And just like I said, that's what's going on here in Memphis. I don't know.
Thank you so much, Randy.
Yes.
So, otra cosa que ella compartió fue el problema que tenemos con los trabajos como los Amazon, que saben que se ha llenado el vecindario de Amazon y de Fresh Direct. Ella explica que eso es otra forma en la cual la comunidad de nosotros la llenan de trabajos que no dan avance económicamente, que son trabajos que los muchachos cogen ese trabajo, lo matan trabajando, pero no logran casi nada y es muy poco el avance que ven económico en esos sitios. So, Brandy, now we're going to head over to our folks from North Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
And then after North Carolina, we'll end it with folks here in New York. So I believe, Thomas, did you want to go first or did you want to?
Yeah, okay.
Thank y'all.
Everyone, good evening.
Thank you, Brandy.
I'm glad everyone was able to make it, and I think this is a very meaningful event. Just to give you a little background, I've been involved with public housing on both sides of the coin for like almost 35 years now. And I know the value of public housing. I know the value of keeping communities together. And, so I think that it's essential that we pay attention to what's going on in the public subsidized housing arenas, and to see that our opportunities and rights to fair and equitable housing is not removed by some other agendas, some other actions on behalf of a dominant culture who wants to keep benefiting the poverty of others. So I think that we have to we sustain our right to have a place to live. That we have to sustain our ability to make choices around those obtaining those places to live. So I think being Section 9 is essential to that, and not only in New York City, but as we've said already, across the nation, because public housing is that this is becoming a nationwide emergency. And I think that we have to we have to begin lobbying. We have to begin connecting. We have to collaborate with each other. We've been working here from Greenville, North Carolina, with our sons and daughters. We've been working with the North Carolina statewide Housing Justice Network to try to share resources and ideas and tactics that we can all employ to try to address some of these statewide, nationwide, public housing wide issues. And I think that's what has to be our agenda going forward. And we have to do it collectively and collaboratively. And we can't allow ourselves to be fragmented and sent off in different directions. The issue is housing. The issue is self-sufficiency. The issue is being able to have an input in your destiny. And housing is part of your destiny. Housing is part of your right. And you need to be able to make decisions that are meaningful to you and your family, exclusive of a private developer or a landlord or a ratchet landlord's agenda. So I think it's imperative that we get together, we stay together, we mount this national campaign to save Section 9, to save subsidized housing, to keep the private developers from taking over our space. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks,
All right.
Thomas. And I was actually translating as you were speaking. So if you have the other speaker we have from North Carolina,
Yes.
we can go to this person.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tamila Wiggins, the founder of Our Sons and Daughters here in Greenville, North Carolina. And I am standing with you guys in New York in solidarity, and everybody in Memphis and all over America that are going through, that's experienced this housing crisis. I'm here to speak on the future and what impact housing, taking away subsidized housing and public housing will have on Americans and our children and elderly and people with disabilities. We know a lot of people with disabilities depend on housing vouchers and accommodations to live. A lot of children also depend on public housing to live. America is full of single parent homes now. Even during the pandemic, a lot of people have been faced with losing parents during this time. And a lot of people that never thought they would have to use these government programs have to use them. I just see that the future of taking away public housing or modifying them to not be inclusive. And when I say inclusive, I mean including everybody, no matter their sex, color, their economic background, meaning including everybody. Everybody have the opportunity for this, that they can receive some type of assistance with getting adequate housing, or like they said in Memphis, appropriate housing where we can live free of health problems, holding landlords accountable, holding our local government accountable. In Goldsboro, not even, when was it, Monday, housing development, one of the apartments caught on fire because of wiring problems. This should not be happening in America. In 1944, I'm going to state this. In 1944, the State of the Union address by Franklin Roosevelt declared that the United States had a second Bill of Rights. And in the second Bill of Rights, it includes decent housing, right? And in 1948, the United States signed the declarations saying that we are an inclusive America. We are inclusive of all people. So that means if we are trying to push people out of public housing, or if the upper class is creating boundaries that we cannot live what they call the American dream, then it's a problem. They're not holding up on their end. So I'm just here to stand up for everybody, all of us Americans, that we want an inclusive America, and we want all our children to have homes. We want all our elderly to have a roof. We just want equal rights, and housing is included in equal rights. So that's it.
That's right. Thank you. Thank you for reminding us. I was actually translating while you were speaking. A lot of folks don't know that the U.S. signed on to that very important document, and that what they're doing across the country is a violation of our human rights. And it's why we're all talking about not only doing the rent strike that we have going on right now in New York City and suing Gregg Russ and NYCHA, but also talking about suing Congress through the United Nations, because this is a human rights issue. Now we're gonna, a lot of folks, you're like really schooling them tonight, because it's not something that's known, right? Like we tend to take for granted these really important documents, and that Declaration on Human Rights should be really helping us and guiding us in all the decisions that our elected officials are making, and it doesn't. So with that, we're going to bring it back to New York. I know we're running a little late, but it's actually 5:29, so somehow we made it. So we're going to bring it back up to New York City, and we have two speakers coming at you from New York. So I believe Bernal and Shantae, I hope I am saying your names correctly. Which of you would want to go first? Shantae? Okay, cool. So once you start speaking, I'll be able to frame your face, and we'll keep everyone else on mute just to be safe. All right, you can go ahead and get started.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I'm just going to speak from the heart. And I just want to send this out to all the hearts that are listening. My home where I reside is called public housing. It is legally and externally defined as housing provided for people with low incomes, subsidy by public money. Right now, the higher ups want to tell us that there is no public money for us and that the only option is to privatize. But where is the money going? Why does it keep disappearing? Where is the funding for public housing for my Astoria Mansion community? You see, my friend, my vision of my palace is not the same as the way you see this neighborhood. The neighborhood is already private, rented by residents that reside here, that make their lives here and grow their progeny here and take their last breaths of life here. The stereotypes that you may have heard about, these decaying buildings, the ghetto, the hood, during drug-infested fields with single parents with babies who are lazy and unemployed and do not care for the community are false. All people of various cultures are coming to see what Astoria Mansion is all about. Do new buildings being developed all around the property of public housing and private real estate. While eyelids are shut closed, sleeping during the night, I convey a message to the hearts that are listening. This neighborhood, Astoria Mansion, is a community, a unified collective who cares for one another and the issues that affect us as a whole. We are there for each other. And Astoria Mansion is not for sale. Our community is against any plan, I repeat, any plan, including the blueprint and RAD, that is created only to erase public housing. Read between the lines. Read between the lines. It's created only to erase public housing. We must protect Section 9, public housing, save their lives, and it will save ours. Our histories are intertwined. My community's history is intertwined. Public housing is the links that connect our chain together. We must reboot, reactivate, and uplift. In closing, I'll leave you with this. Like the sound of the waves, crashing, songbirds, chirping, the sun of the soul, drip, drip, can you help me find it? I rise, 30 plus years, resilient, marvelous years, I reside as a powerful young daughter who is gifted, a community leader. I take a moment in time today to contemplate our fates. As I sit by the East River, I discover that I carry my mother's faith, strength, courage, and power in my hands. Lady Liberty that she is. And all that I am, I owe it to her. So like CPR, we must unite our power to pump life, L-I-F-E, life, into the veins of public housing. We, as one, are standing on the front lines of the battlefields like warriors, carrying the torch as a unified collective. We must urge the people in power to keep public housing and fund Section 9. They must do that. They must do it because it's already written. And we have to hold them accountable and continue to invest in our communities and our lives. So show us the moolah. Show us the money. Where is the money? Dinero, where is it going? Muchas gracias. Thank you for letting me in your ears. Thank you for letting me share.
You're getting a ton of class out here. We were muted, so we wouldn't be able to disturb you. But thank you for speaking to the resilience, which is a word that we created and we speak to by living every day. And then we're gonna pass it on to Vernell. And we are checking chat. Nasmus is doing that. It might take us a couple minutes because once we touch chat, we lose other capabilities. But you know, we're making it happen. All right. So now, hi.
Hi, everybody.
How you doing tonight?
Okay. Out here in Far Rockaway, Queens. I'm holding it together. It's glad to see everybody on the call from so many different places. You know, we're standing together. I love it. You know, I was 12 years old in 1970 when my family moved into public housing. I remember how clean and well kept the buildings when the grounds were. It was absolutely beautiful. Neighbors were neighborly on both sides of the streets. You know, public housing was on one side and the co-op owners were living on the other side. I never really noticed a divide in the race or classes growing up, okay? All I saw was one community of people living on the peninsula where the amusement park was and everybody came out here to playland, you know, and the beach was a gathering spot for the community, you know. In 1989, I was 27 years old. I moved into my apartment that I'm currently living in. But since moving in, the living conditions and management has deteriorated despite resident cries to the elected officials, you know, or even to NYCHA. NYCHA services dropped and my neighbors were becoming more and more despondent towards their living conditions. And while the community was turning into a desert of empty lots, the community was becoming gentrified, I guess, and I didn't recognize it. I didn't see it. I wasn't doing anything about it. Housing is a human right, yet this value is not reflected in our government or in our homes or in our communities. So I get involved, and I got involved with community organizing first with my resident council here at Carlton Manor in 1999. Later, I joined Community Voices Heard, where I learned to channel my anger through organizing my neighbors and just trying to bring everybody together. In 2016, we formed the Rockaway Hub as a member-led branch, Community Voices Heard, which is organizing, activating, and undertaking community-based research projects out here in Far Rockaway. So in total, I've been organizing in my community for about 30 years. You know, I organize in my community to wake up my neighbors. I wake them up to the possibilities of living in decent and housing that we deserve, you know, in a community that's ever changing. I mean, they have $1 million homes across the street from where I'm at, buildings all up and down the peninsula. I organize in my community to bring neighbors together so that I'm not alone fighting. for better living conditions. Because I remember there was a time that residents came together. It was a national organization called In Front. Everywhere now fighting for public housings. I can't remember exactly what the acronym stood for, but residents came together from everywhere. And that was something that I organized to try to see happen again. I organized also in my community to bring neighbors together so that I'm not alone, like I said. You know, I organized because I have faith that if we come together, we can stand a better shot at resolving our problems, you know, and to try to keep a foothold in our communities. Ultimately, I organize because I cannot sit back and watch what's happening and not do anything about it. You know, I see people getting evicted around me and having so many problems that now they want to bring this RAD program out here. And I have to organize. You know, I've been trying to get the word out to people and to wake up people so that we can come together in one force. You know, we have to stop this RAD and section, all these attacks that's coming tonight, you know. I organize in my community because I have faith, like I said, that we will come together and stand a shop in resolving things. You know, Niger, as we know it, is under attack, whereas in 5 years, and I pray in 5 years, I get an opportunity to have an option to move somewhere as opposed to being evicted. Because that's what I fear most with this RAD program. You know, they say that it's the saving grace for everybody, but ultimately, we know it's not. We're undertaking a survey out here in Rockaway to see, just like everybody else has been knowing what this RAD program has been about, we're gonna document and put a report together so we can have a leg to stand on, you know, and hopefully be able to connect with this coalition so that we can really have numbers, strengthen numbers. Thank you, that's it. You know, I'm here just trying to hold it together, guys, you know.
I just realized that we were on mute because we were trying to be respectful. So we all clapped for you and we said thank you. And we were over on the side translating everything that you were saying. So Cesar now is going to give our closing remarks. And one thing to note is that the Telemundo coverage, which is super important because we don't get a lot of info out there in Spanish on TV, they're going to be coming on at 6 o'clock. So all the seniors are excited. So I'm going to pass it to Cesar so you can close us out for them. Perfecto.
So I was thinking of today what to say, and then there are 2 words that we are talking about here. It's public and private. So then I went to a dictionary and I said, what is public? Is the definition of public is of or concerning the people as a whole. Ordinary people, the community. That's what public means. And then the definition of private is belonging to or for the use of one particular person or group. So we have these 2 definitions here. We have these 2 things. One of them is only about themselves, about the individual, about the group, about power and money. And public has to do about community and us. Everybody here, regardless of color, regardless of culture, that's community. So I was looking at those 2 words and I said, yes, that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting to have the word public to be everywhere because it's us. It's everybody here. Like I said, it doesn't matter where you come from, you're public, everybody's together. So a couple of things we are doing is petition. And then we have a New York City petition. It's Section 9, our website. And then we also have United Front Against Displacement. They're doing a petition as well. And we have our Facebook group, Save Section 9. We need people to be in our Facebook group, Save Section 9. And then also for people to tell their stories in Save Section 9 in the Facebook group. Because it is important for us to state our culture, to state why we're here. I'm an immigrant. I was brought here from Guatemala, so my story is an immigrant story. So he's saying that as an immigrant, when I came here, we had the American dream. The American dream is not what the people say. The American dream is what we say. It's what we decide to do with our lives and things like that. So we say Section 9 is here. For public housing, it's not only NYCHA. We're talking about everybody in public housing because like public means community. Thank you.
So, here's the petition. Si no la han firmado, por favor, fírmenla. Vamos a seguir la conversación en Facebook en Save Section 9. Sé que ya todos cogieron una clase de Facebook, así para adelante. El próximo mes vamos a tratar de hacer el mismo evento en Brooklyn y en Queens, porque hasta que no paren las negociaciones del Build Back Better Plan, no vamos a parar de pelear. So this is a petition. If you have not signed it, please sign it. We also have some material that you can take to your neighbors and a holiday card. We're going to be giving all of the seniors a flower as they leave to thank them for joining us tonight. And next month, we're going to try to have this live at Brooklyn or Queens. So we're going to keep up this fight until the negotiations for the Build Back Better plan are finished. So thank you for coming tonight. This was super exciting and really beautiful. And yeah, let's save Section 9.
And thank you.
Hey, all, I was asked to say all of you, thank you so much for being here. And it was like really important and powerful. And if you see all these people and like, you know, we are at our home. And yes, thank you all for being here and have a beautiful rest of your day.